Yeah.
Poor NFC East.
We were just talking about poor RG3 and will he ever get another
And
chance?
somehow
Poor
the
Gruden.
Redskins are a 500 team.
Poor anybody in the NFC East.
That's the worst team in the division.
What
That's the worst
happens to the
division
NFC?
in the league right now, the NFC East.
It goes from the NFC South to the NFC East. It goes to NFC South, but now the NFC South produces two of the best teams in the NFL right now.
NFC East or NFC least?
Whoa, wait.
Right.
I think the Lions just got scored on again. So
I know. No, believe me, the Lions were almost going to be reminiscent of their 08 season. They were lucky to get that victory against Chicago. Other than
You
that,
play Chicago. It's like
that's
I think
a
if they
guarantee.
played the Bears
That-
16
that-
times
that
a year,
doesn't
they
matter
probably
for
win
me.
12 of them.
you beat the Bears. The Bears.
Do you see the Jameis performance yesterday against Atlanta in overtime? And all?
I've never liked Jameis Winston. I'm sorry.
Converted on 2 third downs to get them to the game-winning field goal. And this guy, Matty Ice, heaved on the 4th down pass. Couldn't get anything going in the first.
he's fast, right?
And the Giants have to play the Buccaneers and Jameis Winston this coming weekend.
I think the Giants will win this week.
Really? Because
Well,
Defense gets going in their defense.
he's really fast. I mean, he's like faster than people running online at the buffet to get some crab legs.
And the Giants
Oh.
have had
I
major
knew you were gonna bring out that.
problems with scrambling quarterbacks. Jameis Winston makes a lot of his plays with his feet,
By the way, he was sponsored by Publix during the year, which is kind of ironic, too.
considering that's where he stole the crab legs from.
I feel I don't really like watching these mobile quarterbacks run because a lot of these mobile quarterbacks they get hit the most in the NFL. Look at Russell Wilson.
Tyrod Taylor for Buffalo.
Taylor.
Yeah, even though
I really like Tyrod Taylor.
You gotta block it.
My sister was a Raven fan when they won the Super Bowl. I don't know how, but she became a Raven fan. And when Tyrod Taylor used to play, she didn't know who he was, but I already knew he was a good player because just to have somebody that backs him up. But now that he has a starting job over a national championship winning quarterback, E.J. Manuel,
Yep.
and now for him to get
who's
injured,
6-10 as a starter.
now it's a downgrade for the Bills now, who's trying to fight against the Jets for that second place in that thing, which I can't think they can possibly do because nobody can fend off the Patriots.
Well, the Jets
for
have
the
to
number one
tackle.
spot.
They have to learn how to.
Speaking
Yes.
of getting knocked off by the Patriots, of course they got sushied 36-7, unfortunately.
Oh, man. Put some ice on it.
And Jacksonville, they got nice pools in their stadium. Other than
They
that,
do.
Well, the Jaguars play the Jets next, and hopefully the Jets can tackle in that one.
I'm going
and
to
if
that
they do,
game.
I will be happy.
Nice.
Yep. Me and my
Oh,
mom,
that's
we're
right.
going to
That's
that game.
that game is in MetLife Stadium,
Yep.
isn't it?
My mom is the
The
reason.
Jaguars don't win.
Oh.
Unless if they get that Blake Bortles off to a good start. Blake Bortles has to get off to a good start. And your defense, if Ryan Fitzpatrick plays, I bet he's not. Probably not. Because I don't understand why he's trying to scramble. You are a veteran trying to scramble with Charles Woodson playing safety. And he's going to watch you. He's going to see you run. He's going to come after you.
Oh, without a doubt.
And that's what happened.
How
He got
about,
hurt
By the
with
way,
Woodson.
Ryan Fitzpatrick has torn ligaments in his thumb.
And
Charles Woodson, another interception. The
Oh,
guy,
man.
he leads
started.
the league with 5 interceptions on the year. And,
And
this
then
is
Josh
oldest
Norman's
player in
right
the
behind
NFL.
him.
Yep.
That's
He's
a
the only
future Hall of Famer
Of course.
who's still making his mark on the game, and he's become such an inspirational leader for that Raider defense right now.
Him,
Yeah.
Justin Tuck, and Khalil Mack is those leaders. Like,
Yeah.
You should have a leader of your line, your linebacker core, and your secondary. That's Charles Woodson
That's pretty
the
solid.
98
Mack.
Heisman winner.
and Justin Tuck.
Oh, nice.
And David Carr has actually looked, well, not David Carr, Derek Carr, I should say. Derek
Jesus,
Carr
you're going
actually
back.
played.
David Carr looks
David
pretty bad.
Carr.
Yeah. Derek
Speaking
Carr
of
actually
David,
looked
the two best
good
players here.
yesterday.
He looked. They made him look like Joe Montana at times. I
Oh.
swear to God, that's how bad the defense was. And they were the number one defense going into yesterday's game. Number one in overall yards given up, and number one in takeaways. Number one against the run, and yet they looked like they were Swiss cheese.
Yeah.
It was a Swiss cheese. See that jet stream run they give it, that 59-yard play on that jet stream right there? That was horrible. That was
One thing I was wondering, how did the Jets defensive line get upfield that quickly to try and make that tackle, and he missed it too?
you know
These
what?
things happen, unfortunately.
But we've talked so much about the NFL. You're Pioneer League. You know, this is how did that get started? You know.
Oh, good question.
Question I
Originally,
asked him.
well, it actually started with a minor league football team called the New York Bandits. The New York Bandits, my great friend Billy Batson took me on board on his coaching staff. We developed a young product called the New York Spartans, who were a minor league program that was developmental. And I mean, developmental was 18 to 24 young guys, really, really hungry players. And the Spartans, they were established in 2008 and all the way up to 2011, really quality organization. And through my travels, and we ended up between the Bandits and Spartans winning games up and down the East Coast, doing a lot of great things and helping people. We found other owners of teams, especially in the youth realm, that were very similar in what they were looking for in terms of quality of play, quality of organization, and helping kids. So we merged with a couple of programs and created the Pioneer Football League as one of our new programs, so to speak. And from 2011 until now, we've been operating with 10 and under, 8 and under, 12, 10 and under, 12 and under, all the way. We have a high school division. We even have a new program coming out called the New York Patriots. The Patriots are going to be a minor league product, which is college-based. Our high school division goes up to 19, but we really don't have anything to really transition 19.
Just look out for the video cameras.
Indeed.
Oh,
man, that's brutal.
There's an irony or a metaphor, if I've ever heard one. New York Patriots. How about that?
Oh no!
Indeed.
I first heard of that because I interviewed the defensive coordinator for the team, and I'm going to interview the offensive coordinator next. And I was thinking about, I'm like, you bring a Patriots to New York?
Just to get a bug
come up with
sweeper,
this?
just because that's with every time that a team. But anyway, I know the New York Patriots. This is like your new squad that you guys are coming up with, and
Yeah.
that's awesome that you interview and do a lot of the things on the videos I've seen of late. That, and when does this new team? When is it going to be starting?
Well, we're actually going to do like a Hard Knocks type show with it, which we are going to send to you guys to keep track of the team and its development and progression. And what you'll see is we have, it's so funny. I sit in the huddle sometimes, and just the different characters that we have in the league is absolutely hilarious. It's definitely stuff that needs to be on television. So what we'll do is we'll track a few players, see what their actual goals are, and track them from the day that camp starts all the way through the season, hopefully win a championship and add to the trophy collection and the ring collection. And then later on in the fall, some of these kids will actually transition and play college football. We've actually had our Bronx Colts, who, if you look at this ring right here, this was their championship this year.
I think you could make a 51st state out of that ring.
I love the bling. I gotta say, man,
And the ring
those
on your
two.
right hand, you could probably turn that into a country.
No, it's
Wow.
Well,
And
I
another one
get
could be a
distracted
continent,
by-
a
There you
trophy,
go.
the PFL trophy. My
Well,
team's
yes.
actually had one before because last year our senior division had won the championship, and the ring, one of our coaches got, Coach Rick, former Florida State corner. The ring he got, I was shocked at us. I'm like, I want one. So now for me playing with the 12U, I'm like, we got to win a chip this year because I want a ring.
What's your position?
amazing.
I play wide receiver, tight end, and outside linebacker, defensive end.
What's your favorite of all the positions that you play and why?
Well, outside linebacker, because defense is such a fun part to play because you get to really have to downgrade that offense and control a quote I used to listen to, offense wins games, defense wins championships. That always happens, and the defense for us, it's like it's fun because I get to tackle people. What's funner than that in football?
And do you write down your stats and say I did it this year? My target is to get it this year.
Because last year, what happened is that I played tight end because we used to run a unbalanced set last year, and it's young, so they're not going to do a passing type of league. It's going to be a running game league, and so I focus more on my blocking, but then also want to work on my speed and my agility because that's really important now. Because a lot of the running backs I played against so far in this league, like the Spartans, the Sharks, they had really big running backs, but for them being big, they were fast.
So Jerome Bettis kind of running back, those, or the Peyton Hillses of the world. Yeah.
The speed and power type running backs, it's just so hard because they can blow it over you in the middle, or because what happens is that the team I was going against recently on Saturday on Halloween, we played the Coney Island Sharks, and their running back was maybe Mr. Patterson's height, and this kid was running. But the thing is,
I'm
we
just
were
trying to
t- we
imagine
were-
right now.
We were taught how to tackle low enough, so what will happen is that maybe one of us will run but get stiff arm. He had a really tough stiff arm. I suffered one of those already in that game. But then what would happen is that we would slow him down from that, and then one of our other linebackers would get him by the ankles and put him down, which would help. And then also, a lot of the league's quarterbacks aren't as focused on as their running backs are, so the quarterback had a tougher time because, our defensive line tried to push in and the penetration worked, got the toss off a little bit incorrect sometimes, and that's what helped our defense win the game.
Brings up a great point about the size of the kids. The Pioneer League is actually an unlimited weight league. And especially with the concussion issues and all the injury issues that are brought up in youth football. I was out at the national conference in Indianapolis with the National Football League, and the debate happens all the time about why are you unlimited weight versus having the weight limits and what have you. And what people seem to forget are all the areas, especially in the suburban areas where wrestling is really popular. All the times where kids are sitting there doing these drastic weight loss programs, all this unhealthy stuff to get them to drop weight. The kids are out there butt naked with the on the scales trying to cut and make weight.
Or they go to the bathroom sometimes half an hour before a match thinking that's going to do it.
It's absolutely terrible. So when we, again, go into the heritage of the program is I'm not going to do weighted football because I would rather have, again, a size difference. And we have some kids that are big, very big kids. And the thing about it is developmentally here, they are the same 12-year-old as the kid that's smaller. And I would rather have a kid just be bigger. And again, if we're talking about childhood obesity and health and what have you, that kid needs to play football, and he needs to play football against kids his own age. What hurts in football the most, and you saw it in the Seahawks play, is speed.
Yeah.
That wasn't a result of size. That was a result of pure speed. So if you have a 12-year-old that just because he's the size of a 15-year-old, you're not putting them against other 15-year-olds because a 15-year-old with speed against a 12-year-old that just happens to be big, that's going to cause the issue. So, we do have, that size. So I'm glad that he definitely brought that up.
What happens is that me and my sister discuss it all the time between Pop Warner football and age group football. Because she plays too. She plays corner and running back. And I say that Pop Warner football is hard because you can have a 12-year-old kid who weighs maybe 100 pounds, but then have a little bit overweight 9-year-old who weighs the same weight. And it's going to be a disadvantage because the 12-year-old is bigger than him, weighs the same though, but he's going to have a bigger advantage than him because he's been through a lot more growth spurt than the little 9-year-old. But then in the age group, it's a lot more fair because even though they're bigger, they're still the same age. So you still have that same power advantage to take him down easily.
Of all the games you played, what was the one that was the most memorable for you? I know this is
Most
probably
memorable. I've only played 2 seasons, so I have maybe 14 games played.
But the one that that was the bee's knees, your favorite,
One of my favorite games was when we played this team from last season, one of my first season when I first started playing. We played this team from a different state. We played the West Philadelphia Wildcats, and it was only our second game because here's the thing: we had a 10U, 12U combined, so we had basically our offensive line was like a giant brick wall. It was a bunch of 12-year-old, big, huge kids, and then our skill positions were all little kids, but they were fast and they were tough, so they would play. And that was one of the most memorable because that was the first time I actually played my defense because what happens, I was a backup corner at that time, and our starting corner had injured his wrist, so I went in and I ended up playing corner for the rest of the season. And that game was fun because it was an even game because even though the Wildcats were all 12 and they were big, up front we had this kid named Mario, and Mario, one of my best friends, he's from Albania, but he's 12, and this kid is 250 pounds, and he is a monster. When I say a monster,
he's not 250 pounds, but he is.
He told me that.
He's a big. He's a force.
Oh,
he gets.
He's a giant beast
gets
up
into
the
your
middle.
backfield pretty
He
quick.
gets in our most recent game, I told you already, the Shark game. When I say once that ball was hiked, he was already pushing the center down to get into that backfield. And there was just one play where the really big kid I told you about, who was off the field, I felt bad because this little running back, he was only 11, probably about my height, gets the ball on a toss, and he's back there already.
He could have taken
Clanked the kid, and I was like, I heard that sound from the sideline. I was like, what just happened? It's just,
Wow.
Yeah.
and that game was memorable because I remember me and him working on the outside rush because they were running to the outside. You can't run up the middle with him there, so you run to the outside, and me and our safety was like trying to protect that right side because they were running to my side a lot of the time, and
So some 2-on-1 coverage and all
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah,
some-
the Coney Island Sharks have a player that I believe is number 1 that is absolutely an athlete. And when he gets on you, like he breaks tackles and he knows what he's doing. So the Buccaneers did a lot of gang tackling, and that's how they were able to come away with the win this week. A lot of great action across the board. And going into the last week of the season, we have 2 games with direct playoff implications. Our 10 and under division, we have the Bronx Colts and the New York City Lions. They're playing to see who gets the 4 seed to get into the playoffs. And we have the Yellow Jackets and the Harlem Jets, who are going to be playing Friday night lights, and that will be
Yep.
as well.
J-E.
you know, I get the senior division of our team. I really get they get mad at me a lot because I'm a New York Jet fan, but then that involves the Harlem Jets, and the Harlem Jets is like our team's biggest rival when it comes to the senior division.
If you ever
So it's
get a
like-
chance to see a Harlem Jet Bronx Buccaneer game,
No, it's
usually
the
they're on
roughest game
they're
ever.
Friday night, 128th Street. And when I tell you it's some of the greatest football that you will see on the high school division, including the high schools that play in New York City and the state of New York, it's absolutely amazing. Last year, their second game, which was they played in the championship game the last 2 years, but last year they had a second game that was at 128th Street, and I swear to you, there was about 3,000 people lining the field, and it was like the Rucker Park of football.
Wow.
And it got tense a couple times because I mean, I had some safety concerns because there were just that many people.
And parents, of
area.
course, who were like,
Oh,
upset
yeah.
with that call. It's like,
But the funny thing is, the game played so clean, and the game was just that much of a great just display of football that you didn't even have that. You just had everybody just like, wow, this is just a great game. And they wanted to get closer and closer and closer. We had to like rope off the side of the field.
I love going down there to 128th because I was out there I think a couple of days ago to watch the Jets play us, the Buccaneers, after practice. So I went down there, and it was dark outside of there. But when you get to that field, when you see off the highway, all you see is bright light shining down. When you get down there, all you see is green and red jersey just getting at it. And I love watching those games because it's such an emotional game. Watching it, any football game is emotional, but this one takes the emotion to the top.
Yeah.
But it's fighting for that bragging rights between those two teams.
Yeah. One of the things that we do have that I absolutely love is the venues at the Pioneer Football League. Absolutely great. You have you go down to you go from 128th Street, and again, those are Friday night venues, down to East River Park, right off of Houston Street. You see the New York City Lions, who have a running back that you wouldn't believe, hard hitting, great action. You see like the cruises, the yachts coming up and down the East River. It's right underneath the Manhattan Bridge. Absolutely awesome place to see football.
So
And
you
then
guys
you come
are-
into
I'm
the
sorry.
Bronx and you play teams like the Colts and 161st right across the street from Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, but
Play-
Yankee Stadium is literally your backdrop, and
Yeah.
it's an absolute.
That is like a Norman. That's got to be like the equivalent of a Norman Rockwell painting. Seeing a football game like that played basically right in the shadows of Yankee Stadium.
And the SI Bandits, I believe, they're in your.
Bandits are in Corporal Thompson Field, another
Yep.
quality facility. Again, you drive over 9:40. Great way to start your day on a Saturday morning. 9:45 in the morning, kickoff at Corporal Thompson Field. Check out the Bandits. They're going to throw the ball around. They got some amazing athletes. They battled. They came to the Bronx at Crotona Park last week and played against a very gritty Steelers team. Came out with the win. It was going back and forth. Ended up being a 6-0 game. And when I tell you, it was a tense game, hard hitting, absolute amazing action.
So if anybody wants to join your league, You said there's some age limits, right? Like, what's the
Well, the beautiful thing about us is that we pretty much have something for everybody. We have our youth programs going all the way up. If you go to pioneer-league.com, you can see which team in your area has the age divisions that you're looking for. Some of our teams only have high school divisions. Some have both high school and youth, and some just have youth. So, for example, the Bronx Bears, who play down at St. Mary's Park. You got the Bronx Panthers and Bronx Steelers, who play at Crotona. You have the New York City Lions, who have the young groups and the older groups. There's a lot of programs. And then we have all the way up, again, the New York Patriots, the Bronx Colts, and the Collegiate Division. And we have all the way up through semi-pro with the New York Bandits as well.
and is there like academic requirements, like if on these teams?
Of course. With my team, they say the head coach of the team, Coach O'Neill, always says this. In student athlete, the first word is student, so that becomes first before the athlete part, and they focus on academics more. Like my coach is always saying, you have to bring in your progress report, your report card, and if you don't do it, you can actually get benched for the next game if you don't do what you have to do in school.
Good. I like that coaches had that active involvement in a kid's education because, like you said, student is always your studies are first, then comes your athletics.
Absolutely.
You gotta, because especially in the world in the NCAA, if you want to get to college, that's the way to get you to play. You gotta get a scholarship.
And they're raising the standard every single year. I think it's up to 2.3,
Yep.
something
GPA.
like that.
Yep.
Wow.
And it also is a good thing because if you do good academically and be a really good student, and then also be a really good athlete, it gives you a bigger chance of being better and getting into college. Because then you can also get that academic scholarship, but then you can also get that athlete scholarship, which gives you a better chance of going to college.
I just wish the NCAA, with some of the money that they make, I'm not saying like pay the athletes and make them like millionaires, but I'm saying the money that they make, what they should do is put that towards their tuition, put that towards their book and their housing, so they don't have to pay another dime, because these kids are worrying about their schooling and being on the team.
It's a lot. It's
They-
definitely a lot.
A lot to juggle.
And I mean, while we're on the subject, we have a lot of Pioneer alumni that are playing on our nation's colleges. I mean, we have a bunch of Pioneer alumni that are actually just in college. We haven't gotten to Florida yet, but we actually had a young man played with the Bronx Colts that ended up plays at Benedict College.
That's good.
And he played actually in the Urban League game at MetLife Stadium. We actually saw him play there, which is very
Nice.
exciting.
And
Lance.
another co-player who played for the collegiate level now plays for Buffalo State University.
We have three players playing for Buffalo State, and the Bronx Buccaneers have a young man at Western Michigan or Central Michigan. One of the Michigans.
Yeah, it's
That's
Michigan.
In
interesting.
the MAC conference, which is
That's
really,
really impressive.
Indeed. And a bunch on junior college rosters, including Globe Institute. We have kids at ASA Junior College, which is in Brooklyn. You ever get a chance to see ASA or Globe play? Coach Harry Irizarry is a Pioneer alumni guy. We have players who are now coaching in the high school ranks with Kennedy High School in the Bronx, a number of different high schools in Brooklyn and Queens as well. Christ the King. Jay Carter, one of our Pioneer League trustees. He's one of the coaches over there. So all of our players have that community service component where
And we have a lot of affiliates who work with the PFO, one of them being Willie Colon, offensive lineman for the Jets.
Oh, yes.
Nice.
The affiliates, it just gives a lot of people who works in the PFO now become coaching or playing now, and it just gives a better experience for everybody who does something in the PFO because it just gives you a better background, a better resume.
And a Super Bowl winning player, too,
There you go.
with the 43 Steelers. Man.
Well,
like,
Whoop!
We're coming up on 5 minutes. You actually had a couple of video clips that we were hoping to show. Kenny, do you think we have time to show at least one of them? Yeah, definitely one of them. He's holding up one finger. So, Kenny, if you please,
let's do
we're going to
playoff.
show
One finger.
the latest in what's going on with the Pioneer League through their website.
Hey, how you doing, Pioneer Football League? This is David Patterson with your playoff update. In our 10 and under division, Long Island Spartans have sewn up the 1 seed, Buccaneers the 2 seed, Steelers the 3 seed, and we have a playoff game before the playoffs as the Colts will take on the New York City Lions in what will be a playoff playing game. So our 10 and under season, very successful. We saw a lot of amazing play out of these young men and women, by the way. So as we go on to the playoffs, our Division 2, which we'll get to in a few, will feature some quality teams as well. So it should be a lot of fun. Here's some of our highlights from the 10U season. Some of our highlights include MetLife Stadium, where the 10 and under division twice got to play at halftime of the Philadelphia Eagles and New York Jets, once in the preseason with 4 of our teams, and then once in the regular season. To our 12 and under division. Right now, Long Island Spartans undefeated as the 1 seed. We have the last week of the regular season coming down to the Buccaneers and Steelers, the 2 and the 3 seed. The Bears and the Sharks are competing for that last playoff spot as the tiebreaker. So our 12U division has some really great action from this year. Again, Spartans undefeated, looking to defend their championship. However, there's some other teams that could contend for the crown. That Bronx Steelers versus Bronx Buccaneers 2-3 game should be a good one. Here are some highlights from our 12 and under season. What else do we have? On to our 14 and under, our intermediate division. Long Island Spartans sounds repetitive with the number 1 seed. Sitting in the 2 seed is the Staten Island Bandits. And then the 3 and 4 seeds will come down to the Steelers, Colts, or the Coney Island Sharks. This is one of our most competitive divisions from top to bottom. There are no bye weeks in this thing. The Bandits started off a little bit slow, but have come on lately. Same thing with the Steelers. They had a classic matchup last weekend between the two of them. Absolutely awesome action. In our 18U senior division, Green Wave undefeated as the 1 seed right now. However, they could drop down to the 2 seed depending on what happens next. The Harlem Jets secured the 2 seed. The New York City Lions are currently in the 3 seed and battling for the 4th seed. The Buccaneers and the Yellow Jackets are at this particular point still in contention with the Coney Island Sharks. However, the Sharks would need a lot of help to get in, and that's how the standings are right now. New York City Lions have clinched a playoff spot along with the Green Wave and the Jets. We just don't know whether they'll be hosting or will be on the road for the first round of the playoffs. The semifinals will be November the 14th weekend. On to our Division 2 championship. So the teams that do not make it to our Division 1 playoff go on to the Division 2 playoffs. And here's how we stand so far. In the Division 2 10 and under, we have the Bronx Bears. They will host they will be hosted by the New York City Lions or the Bronx Colts, depending on how the rest of the season plays out. In our 12 and under division, we have the Coney Island Sharks and the Bronx Panthers. They will face off at McCombs Dam Park November 22nd for the 12 and under Division 2 championship game, if all holds the way that it is now. In our 14 and under, we would have the Coney Island Sharks against the lowest seed that has been eliminated from the Division 2 championship. So we'll get to that as soon as this plays out at the end of week 9. And in our senior division, this is how it looks. It's a logjam at this particular point between the Yellow Jackets, Buccaneers, and Sharks. The D2 semifinal low seeds look like they'll be the Bears and the Bronx Colts. So both the Division 1 championship and Division 2 championship game will take place in the same weekend. Saturday, November 21st in Brooklyn at MCU Park will be the Division 1 championship. The Division 2 championship will be at McCombs Dam Park. That's Sunday. Both of them all-day events. You can get your tickets now for $10 a piece. We look forward to an amazing playoff. Thank you for supporting Pioneer Football.
Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
It's always guys, great coming on the show, and good luck with the rest of the season with the Pioneer Football League as always.
For everyone here, I'm Jamie.
And I'm Eric.
Good night, everyone.
Good luck next year, Mets.
If they can actually keep everybody.